impossible.
They were hoping that Slapather could get one with the symbiotes that they were using. They're hoping that he could get one of the sappers. If he gets one of the sappers, they have a chance. Dami, you could see him start to go down. Then he was like, "Well, if I'm not here, we can't win the fight and we can't delay anymore." Crazy Man was too low. It was like it was a catch-22. Yeah,
he went back, and then he tried to come back, and it was already late, and he couldn't really make a decision. Even if he makes a decision, he lost the game already. So that's the power of Macro. That's the power of Zagara Network. Go try it at home, guys. I'm sure it's going to be a lot tougher, but it works sometimes if you have this team that can back you up like this, to have the pressure onto the other side when you're pushing on top. That's how it works.
I think Duck died twice in that game in the lane. So, like, that's the other thing, too. If you're trying to play this in solo queue, you have to understand that there are times where, as Duck did, you literally just have to stand on the bell tower and be like, "Oh, I'm not dead, so why is your Illidan exist?"
Let me know when you see Illidan on the map. Yep.
So, I mean, you have to know exactly when to be split pushing and when to just literally sit there and do nothing. And Duck had perfect understanding of that. Never went out when he didn't see Illidan, and even when he did know where Illidan was, he was very conservative about how he pushed. He moved down to that bot lane to kill Sniper and finish the game very carefully, very calculated, very slow. That's the kind of play I want to see when we see Zagara's coming out. That was a good game, and I feel like obviously the game was, from the early game, kind of leaning towards a Tempest win, but how well Miracle fought back consistently with those fights was a thing of beauty. That's why I'm so hyped about this game. Not about the Zagara so much as how well they almost still literally won every fight, did everything perfectly, while denying the macro. It's like they just tried to out-macro without globals, which almost worked for them. It's crazy.
They had Avatar for themselves, and they also really responded well against the pressure of Tempest coming in and just Dami rotating up and down, and having Illidan missing for Tempest's side, that gives a lot more pressure for themselves. So I think Dami made the right decision to go rotate up and down, and actually got some picks onto Duck too. And it is this time it's going to be Tempest picking the map.
Sky Temple. So this map likely to be much faster than the previous, but as this series has already shown, even on Battlefield of Eternity, you can have long games. Towers of Doom can go level 25. That last game has filled my hype sails with wind, and I am ready to set sail. I'm pumped. Today has been a great day.
Even myself, I was expecting the series to be a very nice, very good series, but even better than what I've expected. But they are ready to go right into the draft.
Let's get into it, man. I am the most ready. The players think they're ready. They're not as ready as I am.
One of the key picks here will be Sergeant Hammer. And even sometimes Duck has been using Sylvanas on this map. And the real hype is Probius. Probius came out twice here, and 100% win rate for Duck himself.
Well, I have a feeling that Duck's praises will be sung from Korea to Europe. Even SEA will be chanting. Australians will be chanting with their accents. Okay. After that Zagara game, he wins with a third game with Probius here. The scientists on the Sejong Research Base in Antarctica will be tapping their feet and getting excited. The Aborigines who are scared of TVs have heard the call of Duck. Okay, let's go into this draft. We saw the global win for Tempest there. Abathur obviously is not as powerful as a global in terms of split pushing as Zagara. And we'll see if Falstad goes through this draft. It's not on Miracle to ban it. They force Tempest to ban it now, so they can get either Zeratul or Nazebo now. And if they don't get either, they get the global. So they're probably just going to go straight into the Falstad, which will leave Tempest the Nazebo if they want it, but they may be looking towards the Probius. So let's take a look at what Tempest decides to do here.
I think this was very expected for Tempest. And Miracle, this is the best way to actually respond, because if you give Falstad to lockdown, that's when you have the trouble. And Tempest not having the Haka, not having Falstad, that's why they brought Zagara into place for Towers of Doom. But this map, it's a little harder for Zagara herself to be on the shrine alone. So this one has to be something different now. Maybe a Sonya even coming into the draft.
Could be. Could be another Tyrael draft, but it's not going to be in this rotation very likely. If it is, I'm a little bit worried about Tempest, what they're deciding to do, but it's about the Probius, I feel like, is the real thing, the real possibility to highlight. They have a semi-global now in the ETC. I think that we'll almost definitely see stage dive. We haven't seen it in a while, but with the situation here so far, I think that's what they're aiming towards. We're not going to see a Brightwing or anything like that, so hopes are kind of tied down right now. Now, will Miracle pick up the Nazebo? If you expect that Duck is going on the Probius route, which you really can't expect, but we've seen it already twice in a row, then you do grab the Nazebo. I think that they're not sure. They may just ban it here. Tempest is a tough ban on this stage because Falstad is already a great DPS. They have a main tank, and they have a strong support. And there's all three of these heroes for Miracle, by the way, are just good all-around heroes. There's no hero that pairs with these three amazingly where you're like, aha, if I've got Malf and X, that's what I need to ban. I mean, Olarak, maybe. You got Murray, it's like, well, that works with literally any other 4 heroes, and Falstad is the same. So it's a tough ban right now for Tempest. That's a very MVP-style type of draft where you're like, okay, there's no holes here.
So usually MVP, both Black and Miracle, they end up choosing the solo laner at the latest for the last spot possible. And also Illidan coming in, that has been their specialty since Super League. So Tempest has the question.
Gonna ban Li Ming. They don't want her. And immediately.
There's a Probius ban.
Duck's face, he's like, oh boy. Our whole map picked down the drain. So Probius removed. Can't argue that.
Yes.
You really just can't find preparation like this at just any day. You know, to have the understanding of how Tempest is playing, how they're drafting, what they've shown in their draft so far. Even the ban on Li Ming is like pretty telling. So I think this is now going to be a Nazebo game for Duck. Tyrael coming in. We could see Greymane again, though. It's absolutely possible.
That is possible. And also, having ETC and Tyrael, I think Lockdown will be going into one of those positions instead. And we also saw Duck playing Taika sometimes, so there may be a role swap also coming in, depending on the last pick, of course. But Miracle, they have solid 3 already. All they need is a strong solo laner, and also to add up some more spell damage if possible. But Li Ming is already taken out, so I think Nazebo is a very good pick here.
Nazebo, because Tempest left it alone, is strong. Tyrael has obviously some natural spell armor against Nazebo's spiders and things like that, so he's really strong frontliner against Nazebo. But I think it's still very wise to take Nazebo here. He's going to be very strong in the 4-man. And they could even bring a Thrall with that. I know it's not Domi's go-to pick. They're going to go Hammer and Arthas, though. Wow. Avoiding the Nazebo entirely, especially with the Hammer. And we might even see Falstad going to Mage build. Hang on situation.
4 draft of 4 games of Miracle and no Vala at all. The only time Vala was banned out was game 2. Or game 1, actually. I love these drafting changes, Miracle. They needed this already, and they have it now. They look so much better on it.
You know, one of the worrisome parts for Miracle with this comp is in the early game, they might have to have Falstad as their solo laner. They don't like Arthas is a pretty weak solo laner. He can clear the wave well, but he really wants to be where he can put some pressure on with his Howling Blast. So
they want to make the siege potential very hard on the bottom lane with Sergeant Hammer and Malfurion. But pairing up with Murden or Arthas is not the strongest. And so that's going to be a little bit tough when you try to get the first wall before the second tempo happens.
Which is it going to be? Oh, the Ragnaros. No Greymane with this one. And with this pick, Tempest has Molten Core. They have a lot of tactics they can use to help delay the tempo phases, as well as big pushes. But where does Tyrael gain value in a team fight? The Sanctification doesn't feel like he gets that much out of it Can help Tychus, he can empower him to blow up these double tanks, the Arthas and the Muradin, but beyond that, this composition for Tempest feels somewhat incomplete. The draft of Miracle is going to have some problems in the early game for the Soleil, but they have that hard lane pressure with the Hammer, the Malfurion you talked about. I think they have the better draft here. Modern Life does not look happy about the draft, but let's go into game number 4 on Sky Temple. In blue, MVP Miracle, Honkono on Muradin, Dami on Arthas, Sniper on Falstad, Crazy Moving on Hammer, and Darvish on Malfurion.
In red, Tempest, Hide on Kerosene, Duck on Tychus, Lockdown on Lagnaros, Sign on ETC, and Modern Life on Tyrael.
Here we go, G-Clef. It's going to be Season Marksman for Falstad.
There's already a pretty good power slide, and Dami is on to chase, and that's going to be a goner for sure.
This was a bait, though. They wanted, he wanted to live, obviously, and slow the rotation down, but this was so they could do some heavy level 1 pressure. Unfortunately, Tempest figures this out immediately. That's going to do some pressure of their own. It's going to be a 1 tower for 1 tower, but obviously with the death of Arthas, this is a win for Tempest in the early game.
And also having ETC straight from beginning of the game where everyone is stacked up, where you also happen to have a team comp based on the auto attack. Kerosene, Tychus, and Ragnaros right next to you will help with the Rockstar trait.
You're the real Rockstar, G-Clef.
You're the real. I think Stage Dive is a very good option, but also Sanctification with Mosh, we saw some great combinations with those 2 heroics coming in. So maybe they're thinking of that option also.
Yeah. Let's see, because obviously the Sanctification empowers it. That was something we weren't really thinking of at the moment. It seemed like less likely we would see the Tyrael draft when the ETC was picked up.
But at least no judgment. At least no judgment.
Yeah, well, we're definitely not going to see judgment. That we know for sure.
We did see judgment yesterday, but
yes,
that was the only time.
Okay, actually a double channel very briefly here for Miracle. It's not going to last.
And ETC Ragnaros on the other side for now. And ETC's positioned himself right into that bush. Sign will look for a great power slide in.
Forget, Arthas is swinging around the backside to get a nice Howling Blast too. Here he comes. Sign, perfect zoning though. He's not going to be able to get what he wanted. They do regain control, and no one's on the top temple, so Miracle is getting a better clear. They already had some of the top temple shots. They're already almost at a single whole temple. Crazy Moving does get knocked down there. Brute not going to save him.
Sniper comes a little bit late to join the team fight, to join 44, and Tyrael comes up, but that's not going to be enough.
So that's a nice pick for Tempest. If any Miracle could actually slowly rotate in and just get some of the top, they'd be massively ahead. If they lose much more here, the lead they had on the temples is going to be worthless, and this is, I think, going to be going towards worthless as they lose 2 more. This makes it a 4-0 for Tempest. They will get the remainder of these shots, and with the doubled death, they should be able to regain control of the top temple and also lane pressure a little bit. So
that's the power of ETC and Tychus having that attack speed boost, and also Minigun just chunks down Arthas as you just saw.
I feel like what Miracle could have done there was to go to the top shrine instead, because they already got some of it and they got the majority of the mid shrine. They just get the top shrine and get as much of it as they can. They don't lose anybody. They use Sniper to soak. If they lose both temples, they get extra soak at the bottom. It doesn't matter. Arthas gets blown up here again, and Miracle is just falling apart. Even Sniper is able to get any extra soak because Tyrael is doing just the even amount.
Yeah, I think Tyrael has a very fast wave clear, but that's until Falstad hits 7. When Falstad has that hammering available, I think that's the time that really Falstad will have a very fast wave clear and come up to join the team fight, and Tempest will of course know that coming in.
Tempest has the talent tier lead. The temple will spawn in the bottom the next time. No real winning pressure in the bottom lane for the for the healing wells. So Miracle can take this cap. It's going to be about even in terms of the caps. They just have to accept the fact that they're down in EXP and down these important structures. They didn't lose the top 4, but they lost 2 walls early on that Tempest still has standing. Tempest is just trying to make sure that their next fight is on 10. If they win this temple phase, they will absolutely have 10 first. Going to try to invade this camp, or at least Sign is going to scout this out and perhaps try to bluff it. They do not take the bluff. They're going to take the camp. Lockdown actually taking a ton of damage here in the top lane.
Against the Falstad, who just flew up to the top lane to soak EXP. So the rotation will now really start to matter a lot more for Miracle.
Yeah, and the level 7 Boomerang that you were talking about, obviously going to be a big help for Falstad here now. This Crazy Moving is just going to start shelling away at this wall. They win the exchange down here in the bot lane, which means they're going to have the better setup for the temples. They have a scaling issue with the level 9 to the 8 right now, but if Tempest does not have the heroics, then that still means they have a great fighting chance to win this team fight. It's going to happen at the temple, which should be announced very soon. Ooh, nice root here. This pressure is real. Don't get the well. Did a lot of damage regardless, and they keep this lane pushed.
Also forced all of them to touch into the well. It's going to matter a lot when the temple actually comes up in the next 10 seconds.
Yeah, it's announced. Tempest is actually nearly going to have heroics. I said they weren't going to have it for it, but I mean, they are just about to. It's going to make it a tough decision for Miracle. Miracle's just going to give this up. They're going to try to push and soak. They have the global in Falstad. They want to just level the EXP lead and push down this top wall, this top fort wall. Unko trying to deny some time, delay I should say. But Tempest is actually going to react to this beautifully and go for a boss. This is risky for sure, but they have heroics, especially Sanctification. They did go for the Mosh Pit as well. They have 2 really good boss zoning tools. Speaking of which, Sign immediately goes in looking for one, is interrupted before he can even cast it. 7-sided not very good here.
7-sided does some damage, but Boss is the one that's actually doing tons of damage to all the members of Tempest right now.
Yeah, Boss is carrying the fight for a Miracle. Flight down without 10, but they take the boss away from Tempest. This was a little bit too optimistic for Tempest. They threatened the boss, but they committed to it, you know? All they needed to do was back away and go back to the temple. Instead, they lose a boss and the temple control. They may even lose more than that. Twilight Dream going off here, and that is going to be a kill onto Tyrael.
Perfect Twilight Dream timing so that it couldn't Aldrin away from that positioning. Also with the root. There's the PP.
Darvish is like, whoa! My timing is too good. He's like, I need to pause.
That was way too good. And also, they're wondering, we just got the free boss. What happened here? Why did Tempest just give that up?
He's like match fixing.
No, not even close. No, no way.
But look, I mean, that was just too risky for Tempest, and we just got the update that there was a issue with the comms.
So
I obviously we can't say for sure, but it could have been that they took that boss away without even having comms working properly.
It seems like MVP is the one that actually got the who did the pause. But with that boss though, well, I can't believe that Tempest just gave that up at the very end when they also had Sanctification and using Mosh to contest. I think they could have got it. It would be risky. But we're back in game.
All right, so everybody's ready. No problems here with the voice chat anymore. I don't know what happened. Maybe Darvish just got super excited and muted it or something. The boss
got
is
silenced.
Yeah.
Yes.
Silence was good. It's on the other team though.
Oh yeah.
The boss is pushing down the keep wall, and they're just going to take this opportunity to push down this mid fort. And it all happens in a flash where Tempest was massively ahead, and they took the biggest risk possible, the greediest move, held on to it, and now they find themselves behind from a risky choice. And that's kind of how Heroes of the Storm works. You really have to hedge your bets in terms of what to do, win ahead, and perhaps sometimes you have to know when to let a boss go. If they committed so much to it that, as you were saying, the boss was carrying the fight. Crazy Moving not crazy moving, sorry. Lockdown took a ton of damage in that exchange. And then they weakened the boss so Miracle could just literally walk in and take it. They didn't commit to the Sanker. I mean, there were a lot of things that went wrong in that exchange, so.
Yeah, man, Falsenet joined at the exact timing of 10, so having that Gust was also a powerful weapon for Miracle and Tempest. Really had no choice. They had to, either they had to do full in, commit it more and take it faster, or just try to taunt the members of Miracle and with the 7-sided, get a good CC onto one target and try to get a pick instead. But I think everything just fell apart right there. But they still have a very good chance of coming back. They're not even a half level down.
Yeah, I mean, this game, Miracle gets a slight lead from, but the more impressive thing is that they were able to make this work without 10 on the boss because of Tempest's reluctance to let the boss go. And then, as you said, once the Gust was available, you had to let it go. Sniper with a very quick reaction there to barrel roll away. As 13 is up.
And looks like Modern Life will join the fight instead of getting any shots on the bottom tempo, because they do not have the global.
Okay, Honkono's gonna jump in here. Wanted to have a hard engage onto this. Do you see the slow rotation up now for Modern Life? He was very late to the fight though. And Miracle gets a nice trade as a result. This healing fountain isn't available, so everyone's just going to have to slowly get those Karazim heals, as you can see.
I like the fact that Miracle is not going in all in because they know the Molten Core is available. That would be the big turnover for Tempest to actually win the team fight.
They have the globals too. No one is contesting right now the bot temple. So even if they have to walk away from this, they're going to do what they didn't do last time and just be okay with that. They already lead the shots. Why not just walk away and take the other temple? This is the mistake that they made at the beginning of the double phase, the first temple phase, that they correct now in the second double phase. It's going to gain them a double fort very soon here. So Tempest is actually looking to grab a fort through kind of ground pressure, if you will. Just vanilla attacking that fort.
With this temple trade and extra wave that Tyrio got in the bottom lane before, we're about dead even in the XP.
Well, it's going to be an even trade.
But Odin was already popped. That's going to be one thing for the rest 40 more seconds for Tempest.
I say even, but Tempest was already ahead in structures and they get, or sorry, Miracle was already ahead in structures and they get the extra shots from the top temple. So this exchange is better for them. They don't have 16 yet. There's not even really a single objective on the map to take. The Siege Giant's the next one that comes up. Miracle's just going to try to play conservatively here to make sure they get that 16. Ooh! This is a nice move by Tempest. It does not work. As long as they don't overextend here. Uh-oh. This is a lot of CC, and they even commit the Twilight Dream. Can't even really blame this one on Sign. That was just really coordinated counterattack by Miracle. They have 16 now. It was a risky choice again by Tempest, and I actually liked it. I feel like it was low risk, high reward, but the response from Miracle was beautiful. Miracle is playing a great game right now.
And I think that's all of their plays. What it's making it possible is Darvish hitting on the perfect roots and also Twilight Dream at the perfect timing possible. They're not wasting every CC onto one spot, one timing. They're timing it so that the next CC would connect right after the first one. And here's coming around, and there's going to be a Molten Core. Let's see if Gust is not available. Nope. Falstad is not here yet. There's a smash onto Sergeant Hammer is gone already.
Yeah, big stuns here with the sweep. 7-sided comes down with a Sanctification. Honkono is in trouble. There's the Gust to help him try to escape here. He needs to mount. Oh, gets dismounted. Oh, sick dodge on the third shot there, but here's the dash with a Spirit. And that is going to be the end of his life. You saw immediately Darvish was the sellout. He's like, I'm ice blocking. Sorry, guys.
Wow, what a dangerous rotations coming from Lockdown, and that was a high risk, high return. Just winning that team fight, they really, and finally they get the boss this time.
Yeah, if Lockdown is actually spotted during this moment, they just collapse on him and kill him. So it looks like, well, it's one of those moves. I think you actually called this one high risk, because it's one of those things where when it works like this, you look like a genius. But if you just get spotted and they kill you, you're like,
done.
you know, especially if it's like off screen or something, the commentators might be like, well, I mean, I don't even know what he was doing down there because he just never got to show what his full plan was. Well, the boss is pushing down the bot lane from that exchange. Seems to be the bosses really equalizing the game after big wipes like that one. Miracle's back up in spawn now, though. They have double temple shots against them with the boss on the map. They're going to have to invade soon. I think the top one is the one that has more available, so that may be the place they want to look to get extra value. Doesn't look like it, though. They're going to take the shortest path possible to the mid temple.
As Karazim is already onto the top temple, Tempest does not have to contest this so hard. All they have to do is just take the shots at the top, as there are more shots left on the top temple. They're even going to take this camp. It's not going to do the most pressure onto the top lane.
No, but it's definitely significant, especially all the wave clear. They've just come up here to clear it. So you can see it kind of, they have the pre-clear for this camp. Unfortunately, this is the same lane that the temple is on, so both teams are kind of in this location anyways. Big missed smash, but the mosh goes off. It's not too effective. The sanctification is very well placed. The gust actually not really connecting here, but Tempest has to walk away with 3 big heroics used. They can't really fight anymore. This is going to give the last shots of that top temple to Miracle easily.
That gust almost looked like Hyde just joining the team from the side. That was good. Hyde actually looking for lots of picks, and the Karazims you see from Korea are just all-in auto attack. The fist Karazim. I think Karazim does actually more damage to some of the DPS available. I want to see all the damage at the end of the game.
Yeah. That's the healing ability as well, so it's just so powerful right now. And rose up to the top with his quote-unquote rework. It was changed in a lot of ways. It wasn't a full rework, but anyways.
Some talent changes.
Yeah. He got his spirits, which gives him a lot more mobility, which we've seen actually in this series specifically. A lot of super plays made out of that. Well, this game is still in Tempest's favor because of that last wipe, because of the boss. They're closer to 20. They got a really nice exchange on the temples. So they're just kind of soaking for 20 now because there's nothing to fight over. The boss will be up, I think, in like 2 minutes. So that's a long way off. We're just kind of seeing Miracle rotate away and say, all right, well, they have 20 now, and there's nothing to fight over. So we might as well just sit back, soak EXP, and make sure that we don't lose any more damage to our keeps. Yeah, exactly 2 minutes on the boss. So that's not going to be something that anyone's worried about anytime soon. Miracle just wants to turtle for 20. Tempest wants to take this small window to use 20 to get a keep. So Miracle's goal here is to save keeps while soaking that 20. Falstead's in the bot lane for that exact purpose. He may even come in for a gust. It is available. It's not an epic mount flight. But you can see time is ticking on this keep's lifespan. He's going to have to come up if they want to save it pretty soon.
Maybe they're
just going to let it go, I think.
They're even willing to give up for soak for 20. And Falstead is already onto the bottom keep. Looks like he's looking to fly in here. Never mind. He's going to turn around and look for the keep. And that will give them 20 for sure if he gets this keep.
If he gets this keep, it's like, why would they ever even send him back? Tempest doesn't have anyone to deal with this. Looks like he's not going to get it right away, actually. It's going to be the Ragnaros coming over that gives him pause. So they're looking to possibly fly in. There's the 20. They have Epic Mount now, so you can fly a lot faster. They also have the Bolt for the Twilight Dream. Ooh. Root comes down on the sign. Not going to get the kill. Seasoned Marksman is done, and Sniper is going to scale very well, as Lockdown's actually come from behind for some extra range damage. Sniper is super low, though, and he's going to go down right away. So Furious does connect. This may actually be game-winning for Tempest here.
There was no escape for Sniper at all, but does take down Tychus instead, so they're going to miss some minigun damage, especially onto the tank. They're trying to finish off Crazy Moving, but they're barely enough to take him out.
Okay. You see, this is going to be a turnaround here in the fight. Honkono comes in the backside. Tommy trying to slow and do what he can. Honkono's avatar is not going to last forever. Just trying to get another pick so that they don't lose another keep or lose the game off of this. Hyde's still alive, which is the scary thing, right? I mean, Karazim does so much damage, as you were highlighting earlier. And they want to just core from here. Honkono's going to do his best to slow this down. 20 seconds until Falstead's up. He will have Gust. And Honkono is just being ignored purely here. I just don't think they hold this. There's no way. It's going to take too long for Falstead to come up. Honkono is being completely ignored.
This seems like this is possible, but after the gust, I think it's questionable actually.
Okay, Modern Life is stunned. Here's the gust. 7-sided to stop the gust, and I think that is the last nail in the coffin here. Lockdown will go down, but Hyde still has enough health. We are going to a Game 5. Woo!
What a hype
This
series.
series!
That's what we exactly needed. Sign not really hitting that much at the end, but that was just not even needed as Karazim has a lot, and I really want to see the number from Karazim. I think he did more than
the damage,
60k damage, or even 70k by himself. It's like they have another Vala onto their team or something. Whew. That core was close too.
Reach for my energy drink.
Look, this is good play from Tempest. It feels like they really tightened up their play from the early start of this best of 5. They had the better comp, the better draft in game number